Howdy.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry belated Christmas.
Who you calling a hoe? Ho.
You, ho!
Ho.
Sup, ho? Hi, welcome to History of a Haunting. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Laura.
And this is our
Christmas
episode.
Episode,
yeah. We're within 24 hours of Christmas. That's fine. We were busy having festive times with our families, so recording was delayed a touch. But we are here to bring you a very, very fun episode, guys. And it's going to be one of those, she does a part and I do a part kind of thing. As far as we're talking about multiple topics here, so
all right.
It's a shared script. So EVPs, real quick. We have, what do we have? Do we have any EVPs? I don't know as we do.
Not really.
No, not really. Mansfield, we're going to be Mansfield Parapsychon in May. We have, that's it. That's all the EVPs. We are going to be.
All right, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all we've got.
And that's your Christmas present from us.
From us. We're going to just say that.
Shut up.
And jump right into the meat and potatoes of the show. This one was Laura's idea, and it's a brilliant one. I really like it. So we are going to be discussing the fate of naughty children at Christmas. Ooh. And it's not necessarily Krampus. There's other people that dole out a bunch of bullshit for asshole kids. So,
right.
Which, yeah.
I mean, I can get behind some of it.
I mean, yeah, we love our boys, but they're not always angels. Just kidding. Santa comes every year.
True that.
Yes. All right. So, Laura, what are the sources for this one?
The sources for this one are theguardian.com, vice.com, thelineup.com, smithsonianmag.com, ripley's.com, and wikipedia.com.
Okay.
All right.
Tell me your first two, and I'll tell you the last two, which you already know because you wrote the script.
Yeah. This is true.
Okay.
So, as we were just saying, in most English-speaking countries, the worst fate a naughty child could expect on Christmas is like an absence of gifts, or in the US they get coal. Children in other countries, however, can expect a worse, far, far worse.
Oh, good.
So, good times.
That's lovely. Okay. Do tell.
So, all right. So, Christmas lore usually comes in the shape of a jolly red-suited man winding a sleigh through the starry night sky with his trusty band of reindeer. There are, however, some holiday figures who are much more ominous. Chief among them would be the belly-slitting, child-abducting, half-woman, half-demon, alpine monster known as Pershta.
Gross.
Yeah, she sounds like a lot of fun.
Didn't My Favorite Murder cover her? Maybe I'm thinking of Elizabeth Bathory.
I don't know, since they cover actual things.
I might be confusing it with Elizabeth Bathory. Sorry, go on.
Maybe. All right. So, jackass. So, according to old Austro-German legend, Perchta is a malevolent pagan goddess who stalks the snowy landscape by night during the 12 days of Christmas. I don't remember her in the song, though.
No.
Mm-mm. So, like Italy's Christmas witch La Befana, she is also associated with the feast of the Epiphany on January the 6th.
Okay.
Perchta's aim is simple and chilling. So she is there to ensure local customs are upheld under the pain of death. In bygone
Jesus.
times, right? Yeah, she's not really lighthearted, ho 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 fun. No,
No.
no, no. So this would mean like no weaving during the holidays. That was, unless you wanted to experience her wrath. People believed that Perchta could enter their homes while they slept. If she found the inhabitants had not behaved during the year, Perchta ripped open their stomachs and disemboweled them,
Ew.
stuffing their cavity with straw, rocks, and other rubbish. She then stitched them up before moving on to the next one.
Oh God.
Perchta was particularly intolerant of unruly children and liked to bring a posse of zombie like helpers with her on her rampages. I mean, as you do.
I mean, you got to have a crew.
Right, exactly. Her large and misshapen quote unquote goose foot is sometimes linked to the tradition of eating goose at Christmas. Like, that's pretty fucked up.
She has like one goose foot.
Yeah,
She
apparently.
hops around on a singular goose foot.
I mean, she maybe her other foot is normal. I don't know.
Oh, good
It
job.
wasn't specific.
We got to find a picture of this chick.
Um, So, folklore's John B. Smith writes that Perchta's earliest incarnation, dating from the Middle Ages,
Ugh.
was as the enforcer of communal taboos. This initially meant. Hold on one second. All right. This initially meant punishing those who dared weave on days deemed sacred, or those who refused to feast with the required enthusiasm. Like, put your fucking happy dyke face on and go feast. Um,
Put down your goddamn basket and go beast.
right? Pretty much. So Smith notes that as more peasant women entered the workforce, Perchta's focus turned to tormenting the lazy.
Okay.
So Perchta is a sinister figure, he wrote, who punishes the slovenly, the idle, the greedy, the inquisitive. Don't ask fucking questions. Errant children got tossed into her sack and carted off with their legs dangling out as a warning to others. In one story, a young farmhand who incurs her ire by spying on her goes blind.
Oh.
Although his sight is ultimately restored, the message is clear. Don't fuck with Perchta.
I mean, given what she does to with the slicing of the bellies and all of that, I guess,
Yeah, I mean,
that's pretty tame. Losing
yeah.
your sight. Okay.
So it's a sentiment echoed by author and independent scholar Stephen Morris, who has written about Perchta. Quote, I think my favorite story is when she intrudes on a wedding reception she was not invited to attend. He said, it sounds like the wicked fairy in Sleeping Beauty, right? She curses the bride and groom and the whole wedding party by transforming them into wolves.
Okay.
Right. So frightening tales of Perchta are very entertaining, but there is more to the legend than horror mayhem. Um, I first heard about Perchta in a book of German fairy tales. Rebecca Beyer told the author of this article. She is a forager witch and a scholar of Appalachian folklore and magic who feels a strong connection to Perchta. Um, Quote, I can find any creature or goddess figure that holds an aspect of terror interesting. She is one of the many dual faced goddesses, both fair and ugly, dark and light. I
Hmm.
guess it's difficult not to find resonance with deity figures that are so, frankly, human, like us, with these big oppositional aspects that remind us that in all light there is shadow, no matter how we'd like to ignore it.
Okay.
So, her point about Perchta's duality speaks to the contrast that makes her so fascinating. Her name means bright one, which refers to iterations of the Perchta legend which depict her as youthful and white as snow, as opposed to elderly and hag like. Uh, she may be a dab hand at belly splitting and a close associate of Krampus, but as Morris points out, she is also known as Grandmother Winter, the woman who makes the snow. That's probably the most family friendly version of her.
Okay.
So her legend does stretch back hundreds of years, but her popularity shows no sign of diminishing in Austria and elsewhere as she remains a visible part of Christmas festivities.
Wow. All
So
right.
a perfect example is the Perchtenlauf, which, as Bayer explains, is a masked procession full of noise making, fireworks, and people, generally men, dressed as terrible beasts with large horns. These Perchant are followers of Perchta, served to frighten away the cold, evil spirits of winter by out uglying them.
Okay.
So they are so fearful themselves they aim to scare the very cold away. There were well documented attempts at suppression in the 17th and 18th century, but today these processions have experienced a revival. We're even seeing them in America now, uh, which, you know, people love.
I mean,
We love pretty much any attempt that we can dress up and make a lot of fucking noise. It's kind of our thing. We're fucking loud.
yeah, we are loud. That's true.
Right. So each year, buyer marks the Epiphany by preparing one of Perchta's favorite meals, which is it children? Quote, I personally enjoy leaving out a meal of oat gruel and herring ugh, for
Ugh.
her on January 6th and having some myself in her honor. She says, I also enjoy creating art and imagery of her to honor her so she does not become a forgotten goddess. It is a sentiment shared by many every Christmas where Perchta and her terrifying deeds are celebrated.
Wow. And so she's got like, she still has a couple weeks to go yet
Yeah,
with
so
her reign.
most festivities of Christmas generally are considered to go from I mean, well, you have it actually starts way before like Advent, right? But
Yeah.
all the way through the Epiphany, right, is supposed to be the
Yeah. I'm looking at my calendar, but I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't say for next year. Huh. Well, she sounds like a real gem.
Oh, she's just a love. Right, pause for 1 second. Okay.
Okay.
So next on my list is I get to tell you about Grilla, her Yokat, and her 13 lads. And this comes from Iceland.
Okay, so it's a different take on the 12 Days of Christmas.
Kind
The
of
13 Lads of Grilla.
Grilla.
Okay.
So, Tales of the Ogress.
Okay.
It began right. So we're starting off strong. Um, and ogress. I didn't even know that was a fucking word. I love it.
I mean, haven't you seen Shrek?
I mean, probably it's better than it. So okay, Tales of the Ogress began as oral accounts, with the earliest written references found in the 13th century. So, in historic sagas and poems throughout the region, so one reads, Here comes Grilla down in the field with 15 tails on her. While another describes, Down comes Grilla from the outer fields with 40 tails, a bag on her back, a sword knife in her hand, sword or knife, I'm guessing, coming to carve out the stomachs of the children who cry for meat during Lent.
What is with this carving up stomachs?
I don't know.
Okay.
And why can't you have meat? All right. Oh, during Lent, I guess you're not allowed. Whatever it is.
I mean, you're the Catholic.
Clearly, so strong, so strong.
Far removed Catholic, but all right.
Yeah. I'm only on Fridays. Like, why can't you have it the rest of the time?
This isn't fair.
Right? What happened? All right. So in Iceland, the midwinter holiday known as Yule, I'm guessing, a version of the Old English and Old Germanic word Yule, which describes this time of gathering together, feasting and celebrating, and that's what evolved into modern Christmas, is generally darker than in the United States. No shit.
Seriously.
And not just because the sun barely comes out during that time of year. According to Gunnell, the earliest celebrations of the season were viewed as a time not only to bring together relatives, living and deceased, but also elves, trolls, and other magical and spooky creatures believed to inhabit the landscape.
Okay, now we're talking.
Right? Sometimes these figures would visit in the flesh as masked figures going around to farms and houses during the season.
That would not terrifying at all.
Totes norm. One thing I learned when I visited Iceland is like and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but like if they're building a highway or any kind of road and they have to like move like a big boulder or a rock, like a big rock,
Yeah.
because they believe that it could be the house of like a fairy and I could be fucking this whole thing up, but they have to have like people that can speak to the fairies and
So,
whatever come out and ask their permission for them to move the rock. Otherwise they can't. If they grant it, cool. It's like Groundhog Day but for elves. Like if they if they can, if they say yes, then they can move the rock, then the road will proceed as planned, but otherwise they will go around if the entity or fairy says no. Like
really?
this goes on
Wow.
to this day. Like this is happening now.
Well, I know that like elementals are, they're kind of everywhere, but they're really more revered in like Ireland, Scotland, Iceland. I mean,
Hmm.
we've got elementals here in the United States, but they're a little bit more respected in those countries. So that doesn't actually surprise me at all that that's still going on.
Yeah, it's still happening today.
Huh.
Um, so Grilla, getting back to her, um,
Her.
her name translates loosely to growler. I'm all,
Not
so
too
does
loosely
Humphrey,
though.
apparently. Yeah, right. Grilla, growler. We're not going very far.
Not really.
Um, so she would be among these, showing up with a horntail and a bag into which she would toss naughty children. Nice.
Jesus.
She was certainly around in about 1300, though she wasn't at first directly associated with Christmas, but she was associated with a threat that lives in the mountains. So you would never knew exactly where she was, says Gunnell. Long poems written about her and a husband, but he didn't last long, surprisingly.
Yeah.
The story is she ate one of her husbands when she got bored with him.
Oh,
In some
all
ways, she's
right.
the first feminist in Iceland. So,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So since Grila's family lived in the mountains, they didn't have a lot of dinner options. So she would send the Yule lads, and they had names like Spoon Licker, Window Peeper, and Meat Hook. I'll go through them all in a minute. Into town, where they would snatch unruly children and bring them back to be cooked into a stew. Okay, so the lads are Sheetcoat Claude, Gullygawk, Stubby, Spoon Licker, Pot Scraper, Bowl Licker, Door Slammer, Skyr Gobbler. Skyr's like it's Icelandic yogurt, but
Oh,
it's, and I think they sell it in the States now, but I've seen it. Um, it's very fun to like, a big part of like, what people eat there.
okay.
Sausage Swiper, Window Peeper, Door Sniffer, Meat Hook, and Candle Beggar.
I'm sorry. I feel like
It's
Zane
like,
made up these names.
right? It's like the Seven Dwarfs, but like on acid. I don't.
Uh,
They're pretty
okay.
funny. And
Window
the individual
peeper.
ones, they do exactly what it says. So they would come to your house and like lick your spoons, scrape your pots, lick your bowls, slam your doors,
Oh
eat your
my
skewer.
God. Beg for candles?
Yeah,
Or beg for money holding a candle?
I don't know. It just says candle beggar. And candles are like, were really hard to come by for a long time in Iceland. So I'm sure that they's probably like taking the candle or yeah,
Oh, all right. All right.
yeah, stealing your sausages, sniffing your doors, which is fucking. I don't.
That's
What the
weird.
fuck? It's
You
so
open your
fucking weird.
door, there's a little guy out there just sniffing the door
Smelling
frame.
it. I think that might be creepier than window peeper though, in a fucking way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or see somebody like in your this tiny little guy licking all your spoon.
Right. Also,
Especially yours because you went through some stuff to try to find a full set of your
yes, this is true.
silverware.
Fucking crazy. Um. So the family's black cat named Christmas Cat only ate once a year. So he would wait until he could watch children unwrap their gifts at Christmas, and then he would eat anyone who didn't receive a piece of clothing.
The cat?
The cat. So if you didn't get some socks, like you were fucked, the cat was coming to eat you.
Oh my God. Tell me that you gave Zane clothes for Christmas so Eddie
I
doesn't
did actually.
eat him. Okay, all right, good.
And he was like, "Yay, clothes." What's next?
Goody, goody.
Mhm. Um, so by 1746, Icelandic youngsters were actually so terrified of being eaten that they wouldn't leave their homes around Christmas. So the government actually stepped in and put a ban on using grilla as an intimidation tactic with your kids.
Well, yeah, because now you have a freaking generation of like utterly paranoid
Right?
kids.
They all have like Christmas is not cool. They have fucking PTSD. They're
A
like,
1000%. Yeah, everybody's in freaking therapy.
right? Like Christmas is coming. Oh fuck. The only 7-year-old is like, no.
Right? I don't
Fuck
know
that
as
shit.
Jesus was, wanting it to be like this.
Right, exactly. Okay, so after that, the ogress and her brood um, cleaned up their images in the popular culture. So Greenland
Their
decided to
PR
send,
woman was like,
right,
listen.
like, stop tweeting, put down the phone. Let's talk about this. Take a fucking bath. Leave the spoons alone. Stop smelling people's doors. It's fucking
Put
weird.
the candles back.
Right? So Greenland decided to send her sons into town only 13 days before Christmas. And they were told now to spread holiday joy rather than fear.
Oh, okay.
So, one at a time, wearing a red and white suit, familiar, the boys now travel down from the mountains and place gifts and shoes that children leave on their windowsills.
Oh, okay.
If the child of the house is good, they receive a small toy. If they're bad, they get a rotten potato.
Okay, that's much better.
Right. So, but the bad kids figure rotten potatoes are better than being eaten, so they aren't too put off. A little bit better.
Okay, so they went from one extreme to the other. The
Kind of,
kids are
yeah.
terrified, and now they're like, I don't give a fuck.
Right. I'm not scared at all. Fuck you and your potato. Um, so each of the Yule lads has his own method of causing madness, in addition to the rotten potatoes corresponding with the names you see in the drawings that were I already talked about, but there's a drawing of it above.
Okay.
But although many of these methods are rather tame, there is nonetheless something disgusting to each. It's hard to picture anyone being happy about having each of their bowls licked, right? By mischievous
No,
lads.
no,
So,
no, no, no.
mm-mm. So in recent years, though, many Icelanders have attempted to return the Yule lads to their pre-Santa roots.
Okay.
So going back to them being, kind of gross. So
Oh,
they have new modern depictions of them showing them back in their middle aged, like brown and black rags.
okay.
Um, and during the holidays, you can see people dressed up as Grila's sons in their woolen suits.
All right.
So as to what they did to the Christmas cat, he's still around, prowling around during the holidays. In fact, he's probably the reason why children still beg their parents to put socks under the tree every year. So they didn't really clean him up too much.
It's the only country where kids actually want socks and underwear.
Right? They're like, fucking please. Fingers crossed.
Right. So many socks, I don't know what to do with them, but thank
Right.
you. Thank you.
Right.
Ooh, that was a creepy one.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty weird.
very weird.
The one time I did
Door
go to Iceland, it
sniffer.
was a couple weeks after Christmas, and they still had stuff about Yule lads and stuff out.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty cool.
Wow. All right. Well, I am going to talk to you guys about Hans Trapp, and he sounds like a real big piece of shit. So,
Fun guy.
yeah, fun guy. Invite him to your next party. So, apparently, the legend of the Christmas scarecrow is well known in the French regions of Alsace.
Essays.
I just listened to the pronunciation. Alsace, Zas, and Lorraine. Hans Trapp, according to the story, lived in the 1400s. He was rich and powerful and a merciless man who was feared by the people of Alsace. Alsace? Sure. His thirst for power was so great that he turned to deals with the devil to enhance his power and his status. So when the Pope heard about this, he actually excommunicated Trapp, after which he was then banished from Alsace. and his wealth and his lands were confiscated, which was fine because it didn't really compare to what happened next. So this guy was reduced to constructing a makeshift home in the mountains of Bavaria in Germany. Here he continued to brood and his evil desires festered, which that is probably one of the most disgusting words. Something that festers is not ever going to be lovely. He developed a hankering to try the taste of human flesh. Ugh. Finally, he ended up becoming the dreaded Christmas scarecrow. Adorned in straw as a disguise, he waited on lonely roads for a victim. So, a boy aged about 10 years old happened across his path one day, and Trapp stabbed the unfortunate shepherd's boy with a sharp stick. With the body safely back at his lair, Trapp sliced it into pieces and roasted it. But before he could eat, he was struck by a divine lightning bolt and killed. So today, naughty children are warned that Hans Trapp's spirit lingers on and that he might visit them in his scarecrow disguise if they don't mend their ways. He's a very popular boogeyman and a frightening tall tale, you might think, but nothing more than that. Unfortunately, the story seems to have been inspired by the incredible true tale of a real person. I love a good twisty twist. So, Hans von Trotha was a knight who lived from 1450 to 1503. He commanded 2 castles in the Palatine territory, but he became embroiled in an argument with the church over the property in one of them. So the abbot would not concede certain properties to von Trotha, so the embittered knight stopped the supply of water. What a dick. Stopped the supply of nearby water to the town of Weissenberg with a dam. In retaliation, the abbot had the dam destroyed, which then flooded the villagers' homes and their businesses. So,
No good deed.
yeah, they're having a pissing contest over here, and meanwhile, the people are like, "Hi, we need water, not this much water."
Right.
That's too much water. The dispute continued until, just as with Hans Trapp, the knight was summoned by the Pope himself and excommunicated. So, while there's no record of von Trotha turning to cannibalism and hunting children while dressed as a scarecrow, what we do know of his life is also extraordinary. Even the emperor's intervention wasn't enough to put a stop to the knight's battle with the abbot of the Weissenberg Abbey, which is exactly why Pope Innocent VIII came into the picture in the first place. On his summoning to successor Alexander VI's papal court, von Trotha refused to attend. Instead, he sent a letter to the new pope, which expounded on von Trotha's fate while accusing the pope of all manner of impure acts, which some were probably
Was
true.
probably true.
Probably true. Back then, the popes weren't really that great. So even excommunicated, von Trotha did well for himself. Serving the French royal court, he was given the Chevalier d'Or. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. By King Louis XII. On his death, all charges against him were reversed and forgiven. Something of his notoriety lived on, though, and not only in Hans Trapp. Local legends also referred to him as the Black Knight, a formidable specter that was sometimes said to accompany Santa Claus and punish children who were unworthy of gifts. So
He
that's
just doesn't fucking quit. He's got doubled. He's got 2 jobs.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually the first time that I heard of somebody that like him. I mean, to me, it sounded like he wasn't too far off from Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, like it sounds like exactly.
And then all of a sudden, then Vlad's Santa's companion, and if you don't straighten up and fly right, dear God.
I mean,
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. So that's Hans Trapp. My next one is Kalin Kantzari. Kalan Kanzari? Sure.
I believe so.
I mean, sure, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So, the Kalan Kanzari are goblins, and they spend most of the year underground trying to bring about the apocalypse. Very chill. Very chill.
Super mellow bunch of guys.
During Advent, they come out to human territory to cause mischief and evil. They're sometimes described as black furry creatures with tusks and horns. So, gremlins, maybe? Sure.
Ish.
I'm sorry, this is going to make you sick. They're usually male and are grotesquely well endowed.
I had to keep that in there. I was like, what the fuck?
So, stories about the Kalakanzaros. Stories about the Kalakanzaros. Ugh, I hate you. Or its equivalents can typically be found in Greece, Bulgaria, Turkey, Serbia, Albania, Bosnia, and Cyprus. Now, I'm going to just call them they from now on. They are believed to dwell underground but come to the surface during the 12 days of Christmas, while the other chick is hanging out over here with the 13 days and her little Yule liquors. So the 12 days of Christmas being, in this instance, from December 25th to January 6th, from the winter solstice for a fortnight, or 2 weeks, during which time the sun ceases its seasonal movement. Thanks for that weather tidbit. It's believed that they stay underground, sawing the trunk of the world tree so that it will collapse along with the earth. However, according to folklore, when they are about to see the final part, Christmas dawns, and they are able to come to the surface. They forget the tree and come to bring trouble to mortals. Finally, on the Epiphany, which is January 6th, the sun starts moving again, and they must return underground to continue their sawing. Man, they must be real slow at this.
Right.
They see that during their absence, the world tree has healed itself. So they must start working all over again. And this is believed to occur annually. Which, okay, I kind of like it. If they ever like cotton on to like an electric saw or something, we're probably all fucked. But
Right.
so there is no standard description of the appearance of the Kalan Kanzari.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I love it.
There are there are regional variations as to how their appearance is described. Now, to some Greek illustrators, they have imagined them with some animal parts, such as hairy bodies, horse legs, or boar tusks. So the more upsetting, the better. Sometimes they are enormous. At other times, they are diminutive. Other groups see them as small humans with horrible odor. Again, very upsetting. They are predominantly male, often with protruding sexual characteristics. Many Greeks have imagined them as tall, black and hairy, with burning red eyes, goats or donkeys' ears, monkeys' arms, tongues that hang out, and heads that are huge. Oh my! This sounds like, what's that description of the cryptid we covered?
The chupacabra, I think
The
it was. Or something.
chupacabra.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too. I'm like,
Yes.
this is basically like Greek little chupacabra.
Chupacabra, yes. Nonetheless, the most common belief is that they are small black creatures, humanoid apart from their long black tails, and said to resemble little black devils. They are mostly blind, speak with a lisp, and love to eat frogs, worms, and other small creatures. Well, now they sound kind of cute. They are believed to be creatures of the night. According to folklore, there are many ways people could protect themselves during the days when they were loose. One such method was to leave a colander on their doorstep to trick the visiting Kalekantzaros. It was believed that since it could not count above 2, 3 was believed to be a holy number. And by pronouncing it, the Kalekantzaros would supposedly kill itself. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? This reminds me of an episode of Supernatural where they're investigating fairies. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So they would sit at the doorstep all night, counting each hole of the colander until the sun rose and it was forced to hide. So I bet this is where Supernatural got their storyline. Like
Yeah,
it
probably.
was a fairy can't resist counting spilled salt or sugar. So if you spilled it, the fairy would have to stop doing its mischievous deeds and sit and count each grain of salt. And so that must be where they got this must be
Yeah,
where they
something
got
like
it
that.
from. Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's an annual tradition in some cultures to throw lucumades, which is a donut-like dessert filled with syrup and sausages on your roof and sing a specific song. What? What?
Like that's where sausage like fucking Steeler comes in. Like you need him. Can you get that down? Like
Right?
why?
Let's bring about all of these to get people together because we really need them to work cohesively. It's believed that once you've thrown your donut like dessert and sausages onto your roof singing this song, that once that's done, the little guys will eat these and leave, returning to their work underground. So, another supposed method of protection from these little guys was to leave the fire burning in the fireplace all night so that they could not enter through it. In some areas, people would burn the Yule log for the duration of the 12 days. In other areas, people would throw foul-smelling shoes into the fire as as the stench was believed to repel the Kalikatzari, forcing them to stay away. Additional ways to keep them away included marking one's door with a black cross on Christmas Eve and burning incense. Nothing about having a little guy lick your door, though. Sniff your door. That's right. Sniff your door.
And they're the poor for it, really.
I mean, according to legend, any child born during the 12 days of Christmas, dear God, was in danger of transforming into a Kalakantzaros during each Christmas season. Well, that's fucked.
Right.
Starting in adulthood.
So you don't get two presents, and now you might fucking
And
turn
now-
into a weird monkey, snake, crocodile, whatever the fuck. Man.
Goat head shoe person.
All right.
So it was believed that the antidote to prevent this transformation was to bind the baby in tresses of garlic or straw, or to singe the child's toenails. Sure, just throw in a light child abuse and he's gonna be fine.
I think that the one thing I love most about this story is the creative, like, fucking ways that you have to, like, get rid of them.
Right?
I feel like whoever's pulling the string is like, you know what I want right now? I could really use a fucking donut.
Right?
You know what? Throw a donut.
And some
put a
sausage.
Fucking sausage on your... Yeah, sausage. Get some sausage.
Right?
Let's make him sing a song. That'll be fucking hilarious. You know what else? Yeah, burn their toenails. It's fucking weird.
Right?
And their smelly shoes, they fucking stink. Make them get rid of those.
They
too.
love it. They
Like-
love it. You know what? But
It's
they
like
can't.
kind
They
of
can't
good
count.
for the greater
so-
good, though. You know, like get rid of the smelly shoes.
Right? I mean, I don't know why you need a
The burning
Christmas
their toenails, so-
anti-clause for that. You should always get rid of smelly shoes. But anyway, according to another legend, anyone born on a Saturday could see and talk with them. All right, that's not too bad. One one peculiarity that set the Kalakandazari, I've just given up on that word, even though I still continue to try and say it. One peculiarity that set them apart from other goblins and creatures in folklore was that they were said to appear on Earth for only 12 days each year. Thank God. Their short duration on Earth, as well as the fact that they were not considered purely malevolent creatures, but rather impish and stupid. Sure, they weren't sniffing doors and licking spoons. Led to a number of theories about their creation. One such theory connects them to the masquerades of the ancient Roman winter festival of Bacchanalia. Yeah? Yay! And the earlier Greek Dionysia.
Dionysus?
No, Dionysia, SIA, Dionysia. Anyway, during the drunken, orgastic parts of the festivals, people wearing masks, hiding.
Well, hitting something, it sounds like.
I mean, under costumes in bestial shapes, yet still appearing humanoid, may have made an exceptional impression on the minds of simple folk who were intoxicated. In Greek, the term kali-kantzaros is also used to describe a number of other short, ugly, and unusually mischievous beings in folklore. When not used for the aforementioned creatures, it seems to express the collective sense for the Irish word leprechaun and the English words gnome and goblin. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are the fates of naughty children at Christmas time around the world.
Some good, interesting. And there's more out there too. It's like no shortage
No short supply of, yeah.
of weird mixes of tradition and folklore and Christmas that have gotten all intertwined over the
Yeah.
centuries.
And just kind of like you said, just sort of like cherry picking from different like ideas and putting together just the most fucked up thing you could come up with.
I love it.
I love it too. I'm glad that we here in the United States don't really have to threaten children with really crazy versions of the kukui. Because wow, that's pretty intense. I'll tell you what.
Although now we, have elves on our shelves and they're being watched all the time.
I mean, there's that. Yeah, though my favorite is Snoop on a Stoop.
Yeah, love that.
That one I love. Yeah, that elf on the shelf is kind of hella creepy though. Another one that people send to me a lot because obviously they know we're into the paranormal and stuff like that is Doll in the Hall. Just to get like a creepy looking doll and just like move her around. No, she's not holding a gift, nothing. She just move her around the house, which I think is kind of funny. But again, would send children to therapy more than likely.
Send me to therapy. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of dolls at all. No dolls at all. So yeah, that's what we have for our belated Christmas episode, guys. We hope that you enjoyed it and will forgive us, me primarily, for the butchering of Callan Kanzari or those
Kanzaros or Kantar. It is pronounced a bunch of different ways, obviously, because it does kind of pop up in a lot of different.
Sure, yeah, Greek
cultures.
and Irish, yeah, all that.
And then it changes for like plural and.
Yeah, it's
not the
just sort
easiest
of.
word.
I mean, you can look
You
it
did
up.
great.
Yeah, thank you so much. You did great. I love this story. Good job picking out the really special, creepy, gross, stupid ones.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. So that is it for us, guys. We have our New Year's Eve celebration episode is coming out this Saturday. This Saturday, the 31st, on New Year's Eve. We did record that last weekend with our very special guest. And you guys finally, those of you who have been with us since almost the very beginning, are very familiar with the phrase, Aaron, write that down. And you are all finally going to be able to meet Aaron of Aaron, write that down. So she's going to be our special guest. We wanted to prove to you she is real. And that's all I have. Laura, do you want to let them know where they can follow us?
Sure thing. You can follow us on, Facebook, Instagram, and the TikTok at HOAH Podcast. And furthermore, on the TikTok at HOAH Carrie and at HOAH co-host Laura.
And that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope that your Christmas holiday was filled with family and fun and food and lights and all of the wonderful things that this season brings. And we will see you on New Year's Eve as we give a resounding fuck you to 2022. And we treat incoming 2023 very, very gently, like removing a baby bird from an egg. Want to be real gentle with that one. So that's all I've got, guys. Laura, what about you?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That be it. All right. Well, as we say here at History of a Haunting, stay safe out there because you never know who
Or what Yule lad.
is going to sniff your door.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.